It's Kevin's fault. Sorry.
It's always my fault.
Kevin's fault.
Yes.
Sorry we were late. Here we are.
Power outage, and then internet takes a while to come back up. So
yeah, speaking of power outage, my daughter was in Barcelona when the power went out, and a valuable lesson. Everything went nuts real quick.
Panic ensued. That's for sure.
Panic ensued. Was it a terrorist attack? How could it be all throughout Europe? And luckily, I had just left her. We had gone to, my wife and I and my other daughter went to visit her. And when I left, I gave her some cash. I gave her all the euros I had, and I gave her some American money as well for her last 2 weeks in Europe. And she said, it's really lucky. She said, I went to the beach for our last day, Dad, and I thought to myself, well, I might as well just take the cash. It's my last day. Good thing she did, because you couldn't get anywhere with credit, no Apple Pay, no credit cards. Luckily, she was able to get a cab and pay with cash. But interesting how fast things turn pear-shaped in Europe when you're on the ground, and all credit is gone instantly. No one carries cash anymore, and
not that generation especially. No. They don't think it's real money. My daughter doesn't think it's real money.
It's a valuable lesson, you know. I mean, the just-in-time way we all live. We all prepared, many of us did, for the unknown during the pandemic. Why do we stop? It's a good question. And it goes to show just how fragile the whole system is. You lose power. That movie, there was a movie that the Obamas produced, and it was about the internet going out and the power going out. It was very freaky, actually. And very quickly, everyone turned on each other. The rule of law dissipated almost immediately. And everyone turned on each other, like, you're here to steal my shit type of thing. Get out. I'm not letting you in.
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, because you got no ATMs. You had no cell phone service for the most part.
Right.
And then a lot of people were like, Bitcoin, you can't use.
She's like, my phone's dying and I can't charge it. And
right.
I'm down to 10%. And what do we do? And we have a flight tomorrow morning. How do we get there? And it was kind of scary,
Right.
My wife spent like 2 hours trying to coordinate things, and it's crazy in a matter of literally minutes.
How long did it take for her to get situated that she got a flight? She didn't get the flight home.
Yeah, she did. She's in the States, thank God.
Oh, she's not here.
No, she's in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
But
she decided to continue.
Yeah, continue her party.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. It's a very interesting thought, actually.
So how was your week? Besides that, we had
good.
power here just until a couple minutes ago. But besides that, how did you enjoy the power full week?
Week was good. Interesting week. Lots of stuff going on. Although it's quiet in terms of new news this week.
Yeah, there hasn't been much. Nothing catastrophic. Nothing really market moving for the most part. Not so much.
No, really not much at all. We can probably just jump right into questions.
Well, this one I was supposed to. I was supposed to ask this one last week, so
go ahead.
It's a long one, so I'll read it and then you can kind of answer it. Kevin and Andy, I've been invested since 2014 in gold, silver, having physical of both stored in private vaults, which I believe to be safe. Currently, I have 167,000 mostly in gold, PHYS, and some PSLV. My investment is with Fidelity, which owns the shares in their name, even though I exactly hold the investment in my name. With your knowledge, should I consider moving my IRA rollover investment to a self-directed IRA of physical gold and silver that will avoid taxes until my beneficiaries inherit the gold and silver? They would inherit the gold and silver when we pass away at the current price that they correct.
Yep, that's
yes,
correct.
Except there is something which, avoiding taxes would make the difference between, well, we'll go through it.
Well, the way there are no taxes because it passes on as an inheritance with the step-up basis.
Correct, at the date of death. Also, if I left the PHYS and PSLV as is, what is the chance that the government would confiscate those individual holding shares in ETF if the U.S. had a liquidity default? That was part one. Part two is I own many mining companies since 2012, many that Eric Sprott is invested in for years. My question is, how come the price of gold or silver does not move in tandem with the physical price? The miners hold indicated and inferred ounces in the ground on their books. Every increase up or down should affect the capex of each miner, but it doesn't. Why? Mining stocks move very little up and down on new drill discoveries. Wall Street fails to update the computers, AI info, and algorithms, which it turns to the stock price daily from going up. Momentum is never priced into the mining sector. That's my observation over years of watching these events on a daily basis. Greatly appreciate your insights into the questions above. So I guess why don't you take the, should I consider moving my IRA rollover to a self-directed IRA of physical gold and silver? That will avoid taxes until my beneficiaries inherit the gold and silver.
If it's
I don't
in
know where-
PHYS and PSLV right now, sounds like he's already in a self-directed IRA,
Right.
if I had to guess. But
Which means he'd be avoiding taxes until he takes money out anyway.
right, the difference is, you really can't take possession of PHYS. It's a 400-ounce gold bar, and PSLV
10,000
right,
silver ounces.
10 1,000-ounce silver
Right.
bars. It's not realistic. You'd be far better off having it in something, if that was indeed your intention, to pass it on, put it in the form of something more manageable in physical metal, held segregated in one of the depositories that segregate, not just allocate. And that would then, it's not avoiding taxes per se, but it is passing it on to your family in a manner that allows it to, you don't have to pay those taxes now. And I guess it is avoiding it in essence, but legally.
Yeah, well, and then how would you answer if you left the PHYS and PSLV? What chance that the government would confiscate?
I think it's far better that it's SLV and GLD. PHYS and PSLV are Canadian funds held at the Royal Canadian Mint. I mean, Sprott is a Canadian company, so I would, even though it's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, I wouldn't think that would be something you'd ever see. SLV and GLD are administered by BlackRock and JP Morgan. Far better chance of that happening. As far as the miners, they've been underinvested in by the funds. The funds have very little exposure to it, and so the mining shares are easily manipulated as well. And if you believe that the precious metals itself, the market is controlled by a handful of commercial banks, believe me when I tell you that there are many of them doing the same thing with mining shares. They haven't caught a bid. The interest has been in tech. The interest has been elsewhere. You take the entire capitalization of the mining share industry, it's probably less than that of Coca-Cola, all of the stocks combined, meaning that when they do catch a bid, the majors will be extraordinary. I mean, you can buy the majors and expect a 2, 3, 4x return at that point, and which is extraordinary. And the royalty streaming companies, again, also fantastic. So I think you should have exposure to it. Now their all-in sustaining cost has never been lower, meaning gold is high and oil is low. The cost of doing it is, in essence, they should be printing cash right now. So I think their balance sheets are going to start looking real good when quarterly numbers come out. And I think you'll see the mining shares move. It certainly is worth taking a position in them right now, maybe more than ever before.
Are there ones out there? Because I know that a couple of my clients have called in and asked for specific ones that you think might be on the radar.
I would just buy the majors. Right now, I'd buy the majors like Newmont, Barrick.
Yep.
I'd buy the royalty companies like Silver Wheaton, Royal Gold, Franco-Nevada. And I buy the silver companies too. And even though First Majestic is a good one, it's not really quite major. You got Hecla, you got Pan American, which is kind of doing a lot more gold these days, but it's a very big company. And these are companies that when it starts to become a thing to do, you'll see fund money transition quickly into those kinds of vehicles. So that's where I'd put my money, and I'd stay away from the exploration and even the juniors. They're too speculative. I would just focus on the high quality companies.
Yeah, I listened to an interview the other day. I think I told you with Keith Neumeyer, who actually mentioned you in the interview. As much as I hate to,
I listened to that actually.
You did?
Yeah. I got to reach out.
I told you that time, which he said he's going to be seeing you in a couple of weeks. But he said, listen, go. The most important thing when it comes to miners, he says, go to the management. Check out the management of these companies, see what they've done in the past. He said, nothing against the younger generation. There are some all-stars there. He said, but you want to kind of go with where the experience is, and those people that have taken companies, made them something, and then gone on to new projects. He said that's he thinks where
It's
you'll
true.
be best off.
It's true. I mean, Rick Rule often says the company management that is serially successful, and those that have had great success in previous endeavors
tend to do it again. No doubt about it.
So it is not just what you know; it's who you know, and that is sage advice for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
I think when in that interview he said that First Majestic was actually just made an acquisition that was going to take him from about, I think it was 21 million tons or something, 21 million ounces to 31 million ounces.
I'm not sure. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was in that. All right, let's get to
this one down.
All right.
Go ahead and read it.
All right. So please discuss any tax advantage, lower premium cost, or other advantage of swapping silver for gold rather than selling it and repurchasing in fiat currency, advantages barter metals for land also. Of swapping silver for gold rather than selling it and repurchasing it in fiat currency, there's really no way of doing it outside of that.
Yeah, when you swap it, you're selling one asset for another asset.
Correct.
If it's in an IRA, it's a good deal because there are no tax implications. But when you swap silver for gold, the IRS will expect you, even if we aren't required to report it, the IRS would tell you that's two separate transactions.
Correct.
So in terms of there being, you're not going into fiat currency, in essence, no one would ever know, but it is the honor system and you're supposed to do it if we are not required to report it.
Here's a good one for the audience. What if somebody wants to swap their 100-ounce bars or 1,000-ounce bars for 1-ounce rounds or coins? Taxable or no taxable?
It's taxable.
Yeah,
and it used to never be taxable. They changed it in 2017, calling it personal property. It's stupid as hell.
Yeah, it's not like it's a 1031 exchange in real estate.
Used to have
right?
something like it,
Right.
but it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ones that are making silver and gold legal tender from a transactional standpoint, like I think Arkansas, Utah. Did
you hear DeSantis? He's all for silver and gold in the state of Florida.
Yep.
Becoming legal tender.
There are a lot of states moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And when they do pass it, I think it will. The question is it only on transactional gold or is it gold and silver in general? It's silly that they have capital gains on, especially when you think of like pre-65 silver, which are dimes and quarters, which you still spend.
Right.
When you sell it, you're supposed to report a gain or a loss. I suppose you could sell it, use it as currency and take a massive loss on your taxes if you really want to play that game. But in theory, why not?
No, it's all part of the Sound Money Initiative, which is, it should be. It should be. It's ridiculous that they actually tax. Not only do they tax it at a higher rate,
Yes.
but they say it's a collectible.
Yes, it's a 28% collectible rate,
Correct.
Which sucks.
Which is insanity. All right, let's go on. I told Andy tonight we have to really focus on the questions that are coming in.
Okay.
So let me just get rid of these so I can see them. All right, hold on. These are the newest or the latest?
Yeah, I think those are the newest.
Okay, so those are the. What is the recommendation? Let's try this one.
I don't know exactly what that would
What is
mean.
that on this percentage? David, I don't think that we understand it. Maybe you can give a little bit more explanation in a new question.
Yeah.
So we can answer
Sorry,
it.
David. Don't know what you mean, brother.
All right. Well, after the breakout, gold, when it touches 200-day moving average, get ready because silver is going to blast off. Some certainly believe that it's going to. Others believe that it might tail off a little bit, and that they say once gold hits the new high, it levels off a little bit, and then silver tends to shoot up behind it. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it. Depends on who you
Silver
ask.
is coiled spring.
Yeah.
It's like a coiled cobra ready to take off. No question about it. I don't know. Again, I'm not technical. Analysis isn't my forte. I don't know why when it hits the 200-day, maybe then you start to see, at that point, you start to see gold back off and silver take over. To me, silver, there are very few things in the world that offer the asymmetrical setup that silver does, where you have such low downside and such high upside. I think the idea is anytime you're buying it right now at these levels, sub $33. I mean, it's insane. It's
cheap.
just
It's dirt cheap.
I mean, just looking at it, dividing by 45, where gold is right now,
We're still
33.20
we're
divided
just at
by
about 100, 101.
So I mean, the last 150 years would tell you it should be $74 an ounce right now. I mean, it's dirt cheap.
Right. Alan, what's doing, buddy?
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder how many people know that. No, I don't, and I guess I look at it as being flattering. I guess
He doesn't even know.
I don't know who they are.
90% of what he's on.
The reason they do that is to monetize their channels.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surreal. But no, I don't get any cut for that. And since they're nice about it, I don't care.
Yeah. Go like that.
This one.
We did that one.
We did that one.
Yeah. There you
go. I like. In fact, I'm on Andrew Maguire's show tomorrow. I like the people behind it. I did an interview with Matt Riley the other day, and he was asking me about, perhaps some sort of a relationship with Kinesis. I also have a relationship with Glint, and I think that, to me, it's who's standing behind it. I haven't heard anything bad about Kinesis at all, and they're a growing company with U.S. representatives, people that I really like, Rob Keynes and Matt Riley, and of course, their UK rep, Andrew Maguire, is as good as it gets. So from all what I can tell, it's a very legit program, and nothing but good things to say about the people running it. So in this industry, if you haven't heard something bad, it's typically good, meaning that they're a legit business.
Good. Dave Sweat, will silver bullion be at a disadvantage to silver coin when trading for gold? Any advantage to trading silver bullion for silver coin ahead of time? Ahead of time, meaning, is he referring to do silver bullion to silver coin ahead of switching to gold?
Yeah. I mean, it could be. During the pandemic, it would have been in American Eagles. Typically, I don't recommend people trade bars to coins unless it's an unusual situation that allows them the ability to do it without getting crushed on the number of ounces. So, no, not that big of a deal. Silver bars do carry dealer reporting requirements when you sell 1,000 ounces or more in one transaction back to a dealer.
Correct.
Coins, most of them wouldn't have any reporting requirements, but your responsibility is the same. So no, I wouldn't do it. If you're trading for gold, you're playing the ratio. It's the number of ounces really that matter.
Got one on there. We got to get that one for you.
Oh, we don't want that.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Thank you, D. James. I appreciate it, man. You know what? I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Kevin's smarter than me. I just try to. Okay, fine. You're not.
Definitely not. But
he calls me what do you call me? The dumbest, smartest person?
Well, it depends on what day. It could be the dumbest, smartest, or the smartest, dumbest.
Yeah.
Depends.
There are people out there that find you to be disrespectful. I don't, because I think, I like it.
I call it like I see it. And by the way, I spend a considerable amount of time with this gentleman, and I see him away from the microphone, away from
YouTube. If they only knew.
If they only knew. If they only saw him on a golf course, they would get a true understanding of who the real Sheck is.
Is that when I beat you?
That was only the one time. Yeah. But we don't talk about that anymore.
Anyways, I thank you very much. I try to be down to earth because that's what it's all about. None of us know where we're going. We're in uncharted waters, and I try to, at this point, call it like I see it. There's no benefit to being anything other than being genuine when you're in front of the world the way that I am on YouTube. And, it's funny, a lot of the companies where you hear complaints about things that they've done, you don't see any representatives other than people that they're paid to promote them. So I certainly appreciate the kindness.
So, David, I don't know if this has any bearing on your other question, but you've invested in precious metals for 3 years. We waited for silver to move. What gives in the market hesitation?
The public has no idea.
Look, at the end of the day, in the last 3 years, certainly silver was at one point back in the high 20s several years ago, and then it fell back into the high teens. Late 22, you were able to get into silver probably in the $17, $18, $19 range. From 18, 19 till now, It's done considerably well. It's a 14-point move. It's still almost a 70 some odd % return on your money. Is that it for it? No, I think that silver has, as Andy was talking about, just playing the ratio with history, it should be $75. That doesn't even take into account inflation adjustment. If you put inflation adjustment into it, we should probably be north of 125. Are you trying to put something up there?
If it will let me, I don't know if it'll let me.
It should let you. Do you know what you're trying to put up? You have to put up, there you go. Upload.
Upload file. What a pain in the ass.
Oh, you didn't have it as a slide, that's why. Do you know where it is?
Right here. I want to show you something. I've showed this a lot. If I can do it, I'll be really shocked. It's not letting me do it.
Well, where is it?
It might be right here. Hang on. There it is right
I
there.
don't know what it is.
Oh, it's uploading right now.
I
mean, here is why these slides are a year old.
And we hope it's going to process.
If it works, we'll see. It says processing. And I'll say it. It's funny, and there's that old truism: the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, David, and all of us silver bugs understand that. Part of the reason that there's so much counterintuitive market action, it's very difficult for people to deal with it. I want to show you something. This is why I think it's been the way that it has. So the question is how
take that down.
How do I? Oh, here we go.
And take
hang on.
Down.
Where is David?
Go to the slider bar versus.
Hide current comment.
Okay, so let me show you something here. Here we go. This is why I think it's happening. Now, these slides are a year old, and I've showed this. A lot of people have seen this, but maybe you haven't. This is Senate Subcommittee Hearing S.2768. If you Google it, you'll see it's 1942. But if you read the first paragraph, the present consumption of silver for war purposes is at the rate of about 100 million ounces a year and is growing rapidly. According to the War Production Board, it's only a matter of months before war demands will have increased sufficiently to require at least 200 million ounces a year. And so silver in military applications has been a truism for a very long time. And I have told the story of giving the speech in Vancouver where I talked about 500 ounces in a Tomahawk missile, and a guy came up to me after and said, I work for the DOD, and you may be right. In fact, I helped design that missile, but I don't think there's that much. And a year later, he came back when I was at Vancouver Resource again. This was a year ago. And he said, you're right. I'll be damned. There's about 13 to 14 kilograms in the Tomahawk and all of these high-tech weapons. So I think it's really not a debate that there's silver in these advanced weapon systems. So if you look at the Silver Institute numbers, if you can see that, hopefully you can, you'll notice the demand numbers. There's nothing in here that talks about military, and we have a 265 million ounce shortfall that year. But where's the military applications? There's everything in there. The photovoltaics, well, that's solar panels and industry and industrial and soldering. And
well, you have to think though, I mean, if solar and technology are roughly 60% of all the utilization of silver, that supposedly leave 40% for the monetary metal. But where does the military come in?
Oh, they were also saying this new solid state battery by Samsung, which is due out in 27, could take as much as 60% of the silver.
Correct.
So this is a snapshot last year. I mean, it's very similar to this right now, I would assume. On COMEX, the short position, where you have the red line represents the biggest four banks on COMEX that are short, commercial banks, and the green line are those four plus another four. So it's the top 8 largest positions on COMEX. You have a massive concentrated short position in silver. Western banks. Now, why the hell would 8 banks have that kind of a short position? Look at crude oil way down here, and why would they do that? Look at cocoa. I mean, all these things. Why would they suppress silver? That's the real question. Why? Well, the military industrial complex needs cheap silver to make weapons, and look at what the rest of the world has finally caught on to. the rest of the world understands this, and this is the LBMA vaults. It's lower than this now. There's under 800 million ounces there, and of those 800 million ounces, there's only about 260 million that doesn't belong to the ETFs. And David Jensen will tell you that the LBMA trades. This is what Keith Neumeyer had a question about. David Jensen has said it multiple times that the LBMA has all but admitted to the fact that they trade up to 10 times their final settlement numbers, that they say they trade 290 million ounces a day, which would be the entire float or more than the entire float at 260. But he says those numbers are 10 times understated, that they trade up to 2.9 billion ounces a day, or 3.5 times the annual global mine supply. Well, the world knows it, and they suppress the price of silver. The Western banks have, to make weapons, to enrich the military industrial complex. But this is what China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia and all of these countries are doing. They're standing for delivery. So this is why silver has behaved, in my opinion, the way that it has. And be that as it may, I will go to the grave believing that. And the crazy thing about it all is, who owns all the military companies, the contractors? It's BlackRock. All of the companies that produce and make the weapons, BlackRock is daddy, and then they make the weapons, and then they blow up places like the Ukraine, and who gets the reconstruction contracts? It's BlackRock. So I mean, it's a cash cow for them, and so they've had to keep the price of silver cheap. But the world's catching on. For the first time, I believe it. I think silver is one of those bets that you only get once in a lifetime.
Well, then that brings up the next question with BlackRock.
It is JP Morgan and BlackRock as the custodian. So JP Morgan is like the vault custodian, and BlackRock trades it, I think, through their street, whatever it's called. What's it called? What's the name of it? Street something. It's
State Street.
State Street, I think, is the name of their ETF platform. So it's BlackRock and JP Morgan together. Isn't that ironic?
All right, let's take this one. What do you believe will be the next major
market? I think yes, I think that's really what they want ultimately, is to lower short-term rates. I don't know how when you start doing QE and printing more money, this is why like Powell came out and said we're going to have to abandon our dual mandate, most likely, which is of low interest rates and stable employment. Well, if you let the rates go higher, low inflation rather, stable prices and full employment, and if you let the rates, if you don't protect the rates, you're going to watch the economy collapse. And so that's why they want lower rates. And so the lower the federal funds rate, I don't know how they do the back end. I don't know why anyone would buy our treasuries of any duration unless they monetize the debt to buy treasuries, which leads to hyperinflation. But by keeping rates low, it would stimulate the economy. Right now, you're seeing mass layoffs, huge layoffs. And that's because you're seeing, we're probably already in a recession. But anyways, yeah, I think they're caught. They're trapped. And, the dollar is weakening. We're under 100. That's one thing that Trump wanted. And if he could lower rates, he would. But at some point, who buys our treasuries? That's the biggest issue, the biggest question. I think you're an absolute fool to buy treasuries of any duration right now. 6 months or less would be the only thing I would hold, because ultimately, rates have to go higher to I think, attract any reasonable capital to the U.S. Treasury market.
All right. Well, first, let me shout out to Jack. He said he was on here, but this is a good one here. When trying to use silver investment for building a permanent home, when's the most opportunistic price?
I wouldn't use silver to do that. I think you're just asking for heartache and aggravation. I mean, you might get lucky. The logic is very sound, but like we were saying earlier, why the hell hasn't it moved yet? These are very powerful forces, for sure.
But I mean, like your show, little by little.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. We have been creeping up.
I mean, if someone said to me, I need $2 million in a year, should I buy silver? I'd say no, buy 6-month treasuries and keep rolling them over.
Right.
Because if the U.S. government goes bankrupt, we're all screwed. But you want to speculate, sure, silver does offer that to you. And you pick a number, and pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. Don't
Yeah,
get
I
greedy.
think that you always say, putting a timing on it is the most difficult thing.
It is. I mean, my brain short circuits that way, man. I think in terms of bigger pictures and absolutes or probabilities. Probabilities that silver goes higher than anyone thinks possible. God knows when.
Yeah. Well, this was a good one for what we always discuss. And you always talk about July of 26.
Well, yeah, that's when he said, that's when Judy Shelton said
Right.
he would issue them. But I don't know. Mike Maloney was saying that he could see gold at 9,000. What was the number he used?
I thought it was more than that.
He said, hang on. He said $9,044, but he said they would round it up to 10,000. He thought it would happen this year, and he took M1, which was 2,365 billion, and he divided that by the 261 million ounces that we supposedly hold, and that works out to 9,044. That would be the gold supply that we have backing M1. And when gold was backing the U.S. dollar prior to 33, it was M1. M2 is largely credit, which is 92% credit. When you look at your bank account and you have $100,000 in your bank, that's all credit. That's M2. That is the bank owes you that in Treasury notes, or Federal Reserve notes rather, but it's a promise to pay. M1 is just the Federal Reserve notes in circulation.
The man was in the background. I saw it. That's okay.
But he said this year. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it's a long shot. Maybe he lets the market continue to revalue it itself right now.
This is one that we missed. Oh, well, if gold revalued at 40,000, I think that you might be retired.
Yeah, it is. It does make more sense. Yeah,
I think so.
Well, it does make more sense. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, logically, it's a trade of a generation. I don't say that shit just to sound like a slick Willie. I don't mean to do that. I mean, I do believe it. There are very few times in life where you get a setup like this, and it's due to suppression by the West, which has been outed by countries that are motivated and sophisticated and wealthy. And it's a game that can't go on. It's not a matter of if it's just when. I don't know, but yes, it is the right thing to do.
Todd, that's a great question. We went over it. You shouldn't have to pay tax on it, but for right now you do. And not only do we have to pay tax on it, we have to pay a higher rate of tax than you would of holding an equity for a year and paying your 20% long-term capital gain. And if you do it for less than a year, it's going to, of course, be at your income tax.
And if they ever did, make gold backing a system, I suppose they'd have to remove that. But it's very silly. It is. Senator Mooney from West Virginia, I believe, has proposed
What is that?
that they remove that. But much like Doge basically giving up on everything, it kind of seems like they're giving up on Doge being a thing. They only got 200 billion maybe that they got, but the Congress isn't cooperating. They just voted in $1 trillion biggest ever military package, which is all discretional. So we don't learn our lessons. And again, why the hell would anyone buy our treasuries when even now, in the face of Doge and all this public attention, we can't get our shit together? We're a country addicted to spending, and that's the bottom line. So they have to do something like revalue gold.
Well, in that topic, Patrick wants to know or elaborate on what it would mean to today's dollar.
It would devalue the dollar tremendously. It would bring in inflation. When you revalue gold, you're devaluing the dollar. In essence,
what about that headline? Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and gold
See that? Gold isn't going up. Your money is just losing value.
Yeah.
Which is what it is. It's the loss of purchasing power.
When Roosevelt confiscated gold, and it was $20 an ounce, he paid everyone $20.67, and then he devalued the dollar by 40% by revaluing gold to $35 an ounce. So
Correct.
It's just they're mirror images of one another. So if you revalue gold by what amounts to be, 200%, you're devaluing the dollar in essence. Prices would get more expensive, but in essence, it would give stability to the system moving forward. It would just have to adjust, I guess, to a much higher price level. Did we play last week?
I don't think we played against each other,
I was out of town.
but I think we know what would have happened.
What would have happened? When it counted, I beat you. That's all that matters.
I think I would have.
And Kevin's a better golfer, right? I mean, he's a few shots. He's 4.5 shots lower. What are you now? Than 8. You're only 2 shots. He's 2 strokes better than me, but he's more consistent. But when it mattered in the season-long match,
I did get a good phone call.
I won.
But remember that phone call?
In fact, I won on the 15th hole.
I think I actually gave up. I think I conceded.
Well, they call that 4 and 3. I believe they call that in golf parlance.
I think I might have conceded on 12.
Pretty much.
I got the phone call. I got conceded.
I knew at that point you were done.
You knew I was done, and I didn't get that.
God, that was like one of the greatest days of my life.
Oh, that's sad. I am 1 year into stacking.
Yes, getting married to you was right there.
This is a good one. Matt, how old are you? Can you put that in the chat? How old are you, Matt Lewis? That way we know. I'm going to put it out there. Let me see if I can.
There is no minimum. It's whatever you can afford.
But I would just, as Andy says, pay yourself first. Whatever you can afford to buy. I mean, listen, you got to realize 1 ounce of silver is a meal, or 2 ounces of silver is a meal for you and your loved one, spouse, girlfriend, whatever it might be. It all adds up. So just continue to do it, whatever you can. These are the regulars. Go to the start. We'll have all the questions.
Okay.
Go to the start 43. There you go. And then
you find it out.
Okay. Opening story. No, that is.
Yeah, he did say. I thought that was crazy. He did say that. And on top of everything else that we've seen, like Treasury Secretary Bessent saying that there would be a new Bretton Woods system or a new monetary system during this administration. And Bretton Woods, or the IMF rather, just came out with a statement today or yesterday, basically saying that we're in the process of transitioning into a new monetary system. So, I mean, you're hearing it everywhere. And when you realize, and again, the numbers of imports of gold continue to well outpace anything we've ever seen. More gold has been delivered since January into the United States than since after World War II, when we took over as the pound sterling, and everyone sent us their gold as part of the Bretton Woods system. So, I mean, gold is, I believe, being quietly reintegrated into the system, and it's not reacting to something for everyone to see. Oh, look, it's quietly coming back and slowly moving up with enough volatility to keep everyone freaked out. But on a percentage basis, it's nothing. When gold moves up $100, it's 3%. Remember that, right? When gold was $1,000, that's a 10% move.
And that's the thing, is as gold continues to go higher and as silver tends to go higher, those incremental moves become less and less.
Well, that's what people, and they're looking at the size of it, because again, if you've been doing this long enough, that's a huge move. But in reality, it's 3%. And you see, look at any indice, they move up and down 3% per day, except like the dollar,
of course,
so that kind of stuff. But like the Dow, the Nasdaq,
they're all moving these days.
Excuse me.
Oh, Armando, I'm digging the beard, my man. The beard and the stash.
The gold that they confiscated, they melted down supposedly into the coin melt bars that are supposedly being held part of the gold that the U.S. Treasury holds at Fort Knox, the West Point Mint, at the Denver Mint, and the New York Federal Reserve.
Our buddy Mario. Mario said that there's a silver squeeze tomorrow.
I am not sure about it, but I'm excited to hear that.
Well,
Mario is one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, and if Mario is listening,
actually,
he's not.
I might be on with Mario maybe tomorrow. Am I on with Mario tomorrow? Maybe not. I know I'm on with him soon.
No, but it's 3 a.m. now. You should text him.
Probably not.
No, you should.
Actually, you want to know who we have a mutual acquaintance who was texted him very late at night. I probably won't even go there.
Who, me?
Yeah,
We do?
yeah. You and I will talk about it later.
Uh-oh.
Someone who you grew up with. Don't.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, I know. Oh, I really
I know
do.
I'm out with Mario soon. I love Mario, and Mario came and met, he and his wife came and met us in Rome when we were there, and we had dinner with him, and it was great. He's an awesome guy.
All right. David Pickles. Pickles.
I mean, coins. I would
Andy's
always
a big
buy.
fan.
I would always buy coins.
Andy's
I
an
would-
American Silver Eagle guy.
I am.
He is.
If I could buy anything, it would be Silver Eagles.
That's it.
You pay a higher premium. Maple Leafs are maybe the best value in legal tender coins. Pre-65 dimes and quarters are the best value in silver right now, in my opinion. The bars are getting harder to come by because of the tariffs.
Yeah.
Hundreds
kilos, not easy. We when we spoke to Matt the other day, he said sourcing the kilo bars and 100-ounce bars. And by the way, the Comex bars were we didn't even have any on the portal.
He was saying that he had some of the biggest distributors in North America calling us, asking if we had extra 100-ounce bars to sell.
Yeah. And
which is not a good sign.
No, but he also said that it is becoming way more difficult to source out secondary silver coins. They've been having a lot of trouble. We hit our allocations from the mint, and after that,
you know what, man? It's reminiscent of the power going out in Spain for my daughter. Like, when times are normal, everyone goes about their business, no big deal. But if this were to grow into coins and all of a sudden you couldn't get anything, the panic would be immediate and the industry would run out of product like that. And that's one of the interesting things that I've seen over and over and over again, but never to the degree that we could see when Joe and Jane Public finally realized they need it. They'll buy ETFs, they'll buy mining shares, they won't buy physical, it'll just be too hard to get.
Andy, what are your thoughts on leasing a portion of one's metals holdings? Andy is, I'm not going to speak for him, but he's mentioned it plenty of times. Not a big fan of it. Andy likes to hold on to his metals, and I know that you've actually been on stage with Monetary Metals, right?
I have nothing bad to say about Keith or Monetary Metals. I've never heard a bad word, never. So never.
Would you do it?
I personally wouldn't myself. I mean, look at it. Gold was up 40%. You need an extra 4%, and lose custody of your metal for a period of time. And you'll get metal back, but it's not going to be in the form that you're getting paid in extra ounces. But I don't think if you gave American Eagles, I'm fairly certain you don't get American Eagles back.
No, I don't think I think that's definitely correct.
But for me, again, I don't buy gold and silver for the yield it gives. I buy it for other reasons. Some people may decide they need to do that. I get it. I mean,
look, somebody who we both know that I talk to you about all the time, very, very wealthy guy, was in the market his entire life, sold his house, a few $1 million. I made the suggestion, the recommendation to buy gold and silver, and he was chasing yield, and he did so with some of the, good equities that were out there at the time. But in the meantime, chasing yield, he's now down 15% on his portfolio. So
yeah, well, and I guess you could say the same thing could be true of gold. In theory, could have gone the other way.
Could have, but it didn't.
But I mean, I'm just simply saying that for me, while a lot of people like the idea of earning interest on an asset that earns no interest, you look at what it's done earning no interest. It's doubled the performance of the 10-year Treasury for 25 years. Last year, it beat it tenfold, 40% versus 4%. And the relinquishing of your metal makes me, I don't like that. I mean, that's just me, right? But I want to be very clear on something. I have never heard a bad word of Monetary Metals, and they seem to run a legitimate operation, and more power to them.
And they seem to be, certainly, I think,
Keith is a smart guy.
I think they seem to be the kingpin in that industry too.
I don't know of anyone that, I mean, there are others that do something similar.
Well, did Battle start?
Battle hasn't started yet. Yeah. I mean, I would feel more comfortable doing it with them.
Right.
Because my guess is the way that they're going to do it, and I've had some discussions with them.
Becoming an actual bank, and then they actually have it is a loan. That's.
Well, I think they're doing it as a loan, using your metal as collateral.
Right.
So your metal's like because I've talked with them about it, and we'll work with them on it. And if someone were to do something out of one of my BRICS facilities, the metal would be transferred to the Battle Bank account in the same facility. The loan would be made as long as the loan to value doesn't go below
What are
70%.
they? Is that what
Probably
the LTV they usually
70%,
do?
I think. Then there's no margin call.
Although these days it might even be less than that because
Might
of the
be.
volatility in the
Might
market.
be, it should
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
anyways, you get your original metal back. So you're not leasing it, you're taking a loan out against it. So, what's better, a lease or a loan? Tax-wise, I'm not a tax guy, don't know.
Right.
But I would simply say I would have a greater comfort level with that, knowing it's staying in the vault and it's a loan rather than a lease. And if I don't pay for it, it's on me. I'm not reliant upon a jeweler to make good on his lease, and there is risk involved with that stuff. So not for me, but
For
more
others-
importantly, never heard a bad thing.
All right. Let's say generic round swap for junk. If you don't have junk, if you don't have any
yeah,
constitutional,
you could make it fairly close. I mean, if you did eagles for junk, which is not something I really would do, you'll walk away with extra silver.
yeah, well, because you're getting the premium on your
But
Eagles,
I mean,
so.
I could see that. I could see people doing that. You're going to lose a little bit of silver, but I could see why you would do it.
All right, this one I'm gonna answer for you, and tell me if I'm right. So tomorrow, if option expiration is tomorrow, then I would say, if I was a betting man, which I am, Andy expects that the market will probably be taken down tomorrow, and then first week or thereabouts in May, we will see an uplifting of silver as well. Would that be your thoughts on it?
It's usually how it works,
Right.
that they knock it down
At
into
the end of
options
the- right.
expiration and below round numbers. So, to see gold close at 32.99 instead of 33.12.
I feel like they've been hitting silver more at the end of option expiration.
Well, it's at 33.10-ish, 33.20. They would like it to close at 32.99 below the round
30, right,
numbers
yeah.
where these options are sold at.
Here's a good one. Senator tied a real money law onto another bill that was going to pass it, and it did pass along with the gold and silver legal tender law. The House is for it and should pass easily.
That's great.
Yeah.
There are more states realizing the
Yeah.
importance of allowing.
David, if you can send us what that other bill was, that would be good for us to read too. Let's see. What does it say? 24 billion buys the entire silver market. 6 billion buys all the platinum by before it's gone.
Yeah,
Platinum's
crazy.
been much more difficult to come by.
No, the mint hasn't made any
Yeah.
eagles, and I don't know how long.
And I bought the last ones that we had, so I don't think we have any left now. You want the Enbridge?
Wherever.
All right. I'm liking how we're ripping through these, by the way. Usually you don't stop talking, so it's nice that we get to go through all the questions. It's nice. What's up? Good looking. I'm digging the new glasses, by the way. Are they
make me look
easiest?
smart.
Are they the
Yeah,
easiest?
they
Nice. They're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Their new technology was just rolled out with the digital renminbi, and they connected. It is the bridge technology. It is the Enbridge, and they connected to 10 or 11 of the ASEAN nations in Southeast Asia, and I think 5 Middle Eastern countries. It represents about 40% of global trade right now. And it enables cross-border trade in local currencies outside the SWIFT. It's very similar to what XRP is.
Do you see it as competition for Ripple?
I would think it would be with those nations. As far as I know, it's very similar technology. Again, I'm not a crypto guy, but I would think that it's bridge technology. But the craziest part of everything is what Sergey Lavrov came out and said. The meeting in Rio de Janeiro is in July, and the head of Brazil, President of Brazil, or someone in the Brazil delegation said, we want a new BRICS payment system, and that's what this is. And so he came out and said that it will be for member and non-member countries, which is a huge deal, because if you look at like the Belt Road Initiative and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Eurasian Economic Union, these 3 entities, which about 80% of human population, they're all aligned with BRICS. So if they start allowing all of this cross-border trade without using the SWIFT in a new settlement system where everyone uses their local central bank currencies and then settles imbalances in gold, which is really the premise of the unit, it's a big deal, and you'll see mass adoption. So it's something that I think the people who are naysayers on BRICS, myself included, have overlooked them opening this up. I'm not a naysayer. I'm a realist on it. What I am is I didn't think that they would open up this trading platform to all the non-BRICS countries. If they do, including those on the Belt Road and the Eurasian Economic Union and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, yeah, it's a huge deal, and it would be a competitor, I believe, to the XRP system.
She's pissed at you. All right. Let's see. Why are local coin shops buying silver at $250 under spot? Wow, I don't know what you're looking to sell them, but there are right now buybacks, premiums. If you're a seller, they're not great. And I mean, if you look at some of our competition, we probably have, I would say, the highest bids of any of the dealers that I've seen. But there are plenty of our competitors that are still $2 under spot for kilos.
Now, that should tell you we're a long ways away from the top of any of this, because the public is asleep.
But I will tell you, it takes that for it to change.
Yeah,
you remember back March of 23, we were seeing 10, 15 times a day premium changes internally with our company, where we actually had to put out notifications that, premiums are going up almost to the point where we couldn't keep on top of it.
That was like during the silicon and signature days.
But I mean, guys were selling metals and they were getting, red alerts on our system because they were charging less than what we were even paying.
The premiums are kind of a forward-leaning indication. Like if I have 10,000 silver eagles that I paid X for over spot, well, why would the premium change? Well, because I see to buy 10,000 more, now it's going to cost me $1 more. So it doesn't matter what I have into them in order to replace them. And that's the whole premise of a business, is you rotate your inventory and you buy and sell. If you have to pay more to buy the next batch, well, that's the whole thing. But we go the other way too, and we lower premiums when the
time's right. When we need to lower, we lower. When we have to raise,
when I can buy it for less.
Yeah, and
because that means the competition can buy it for less.
No doubt about it.
So in order to stay relevant and fair and commensurate with the quality companies in the industry, that's what you have to do.
Yep, we look at it every day, all day. That's a good question here. There we go. What happens to platinum if they revalue gold?
Good question. I mean, the what if questions are impossible to answer, but platinum has a very convincing argument, at least in terms of its historical relationship to gold. So does silver. They're similar. I would just simply say that platinum's more of a speculation. It's more of an investment rather than wealth. But I would buy some. I would. And sad you can't get the Eagles. I don't know what the mint numbers were for last year, but I think they were like 35,000 or something.
It was garbage. Yeah. It was not even
CDC.
You think he means central bank digital currency? Is that what you think that is? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's saying if a CBDC controls buying and selling, what do you do? I mean, that's kind of the issue, is that they don't need to confiscate gold. They just make it impossible to sell it. I guess they could. I don't think that you can, you hope for the best, you prepare best you can, but, you can't look at all of the what if scenarios. But yeah, they could do that. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I think Andy and I are both pretty steadfast on this. Do we think that the government will ever confiscate gold again? I think that we both agree that they won't. I think back in the day, everything was tied to gold. Gold was our money.
Well, everyone owned it.
Everyone had it, and that was it. It was fungible with the dollar, so you could interchange your gold and the dollars for it. But of course, once we got off the gold standard, very, very few own gold. And even today, still very, very few own gold. I don't think that people actually realize how few of us out there really exist. I mean,
Right.
percentage-wise, it's what, about half of 1%?
Yeah,
I mean, that's tiny.
and again, if J.P. Morgan and BlackRock are the custodians of GLD and SLV, I mean, it would be much easier to take those funds and have everything centrally held by the cartel banks, and then be able to look the world in the face and say, we didn't do anything. You're allowed to own gold in this country. So it wouldn't, the unintended consequences, I think, would be too severe. So no,
But
I don't.
it is pretty wild to think that if a half of 1% is what we are, and you take just a smidgen of assets that come out of the equity market because they feel that that's inflated, they think it's overvalued, and you take just a smidgen of that money and it goes into gold and it goes into silver, that differential from a half of 1% to 2.5% is fivefold.
Yeah.
It's enormous.
In
The
1980,
enormity of
the
it.
number was 8%.
Right.
So the BRIC always talks about the 40-year mean being 2.5, which would be a fivefold increase.
Right.
And the industry would grind to a halt immediately because there would just be nothing to find, and that's the problem. And you can have an inventory of $100 million in house. Once that's gone, I mean, that sounds tremendous, sure, but that's a couple of super crazy days, and that's gone.
Yeah.
And then what? You can't get any more, and no one's selling. And that's what they say is the difference between a gold bull market and a equities bull market, is that no one sells into the gold bull market in a real gold bull market because people are buying it because they're concerned. What are you showing me?
Well, that's just another one.
Oh, nice.
I guess we're K&A. I'm beginning to think that silver is no longer correlated to gold, and the gold silver ratio will get much larger if gold is.
It's an interesting take. It would be something completely and totally new. It's valid. It's a valid point, Felix, that gold is money, but I think silver is strategic. And
gold is money, and everything else is credit.
J.P.
Morgan. That's right.
And it's a valid point. I don't poo-poo it. I don't think it will happen. But I think that the countries around the world understand that silver is may not ever regain its role in a bimetallic system as money, but there is a monetary aspect to it. There is a strategic aspect to it. And I think the countries know that. So anyway, we look at it, it's vastly undervalued. So it may see a severing of that historical correlation, because through all of time, they've had about a 90% correlation in movement, not always symmetrically, but over time.
I think they mean trading halts like
they do. I don't know
20%?
I think
that seems like it would be extraordinarily high.
I think it's lower than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know what there are stops. I don't know exactly what
on the major indexes. It's generally about a 7 to 10% intraday on the halts. That would seem like it's really, really high. 20%.
Let's ask.
Yeah, you could just speak it. But all right, let's go on to this one. Oh, here's a good one for you, and we're going to find out for you with on the COMEX trading halts. Let's see.
No, the COMEX does not have
circuit
traditional
breakers.
circuit breakers to the upside for silver like stock markets do for equities. However, it does implement price limits and velocity logic controls that can temporarily halt or slow trading under extreme volatility, including upside moves.
How it works.
It's not for silver.
Not for silver.
No. Well, there you go.
And what does it say for gold? Or it doesn't. Right there. Oh, right. That's why I said 7, 13, and 20%.
Yeah.
Andy, good question. What if you don't remember what you paid for your gold? How do you figure out the tax?
Best faith estimate.
That's it. You just got to kind of educated guess.
Best faith estimate.
Yeah. That's it. Honor system. If Bitcoin can go from $1 to 50,000, why can't silver go to 250? It can.
It should.
It can. Again, if we look at an inflation adjustment from 1980 until now, when it was at $50, we should probably be north of 125 now.
Yeah.
If we take just the GSR that Andy was talking about on a, 60-year average or whatever, however, 30-year, whatever you want to use.
42 to 1, 45 to 1 even.
Somewhere between 40 and 60. That's what it's going to be. Let's see.
That's a fair question, and I know it bums a lot of people out that we don't. I have reasons. I have very valid reasons. More so because of relationships. I'll put it to that way. If you were to send an email to us at info@milesfranklin, or send it directly to me if you want, and say that you were on this podcast and you want to talk to me, or any of our brokers for that matter, you'll end up with a price list that will beat 99% of the companies in America. You don't have to get contacted. You can just ask for the price list and try to update it as much as we can. And if you find people that are companies, legitimate companies that are beating us, let us know. We'll do the best we can to beat it, match it for sure. But our prices will be as good or better than every company around, and just about anyway, all the legitimate ones. I never wanted
no bait and switch.
No, I don't sell any of that horse shit.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be the cheapest online company. And there's a lot that goes into running an online company. And I don't want to be that. I could, but I don't want to be that. And there are reasons for it. And I think relationships are very important.
And our website actually has a cap limit on it where you can only buy up to 10,000 now.
It's nothing.
Yeah, but I think that's, listen, especially right now, there's a tremendous amount of fraud out there. We update our pricing as often as needed, but generally speaking, on Monday mornings, our pricing is updated. The weekly specials come out on Monday. So if you ever want anything, just like Andy
Make
said,
it worth your while.
Yeah. But info@milesfranklin, and we'll get you at that price list. You want to get that one?
Sure.
You like that one?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Can you read? Yeah. Okay, there you go.
COMEX, I don't think will default. They'll have a rule change. And if you look at all the metal coming back into the vaults right now, it's crazy. If you look at the eligible and the registered, the total vault amounts are almost 1-to-1 in gold right now. Now that eligible is not for sale, at least most of it isn't, at least at these prices. But they're preparing for something. LBMA is a different story. The COMEX is an exchange, and they would change the rules to protect the members. But the LBMA is a whole different story, and you could see banks default or big players default on delivery requests. I mean, you could argue going from 3 days or T+1 to 8 weeks is somewhat of a default anyway. So showing certainly strains and stress in the system. I don't know. Bix is a good friend of mine, Alvin, and you talk to him about it, and you look at his if you look at his documents that he has to go along with it, and I've seen it, and I've talked with him about it personally many times. In fact, on a car ride from Dallas, Texas to Oklahoma, we talked all about it. And then I was just at a conference with him in Ottawa, Canada, where he showed the slides. It's very, I mean, it makes you think. I'll put it to you that way. So could there be? Sure, there could be. Bix would tell you there is. So, I have an open mind, but if so, we're never going to know about it.
You're better off carrying gold.
Yeah.
Silver's going to be tough.
You could carry 2 million in gold and walk a mile easily. Silver, on the other hand, you'd need you and about 8 buddies each carrying a wheelbarrow.
And you're not getting very far very fast.
No.
That's for sure.
But I mean, $1 million in gold is 300 ounces roughly, which divide that by what, 16, you get what, 20 pounds.
Divide it by 20 in terms of coins.
20 pounds.
Yeah, but coins, I mean, in tubes. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, are we in trouble? Did John write this?
Did you write that?
No, but you should talk about that in front of the world.
Oh.
You want Come say hi to everyone.
I'm not.
She's not wearing lipstick.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I'd
forgot. I'm not
say.
talking to you, am I? I don't think I'm talking to Johnny
Um,
yet. I have to still call South America. I'm sorry. I was in.
Yeah,
I
well,
was
we're
in
talking
timeout
about
earlier.
going to Little Palm Island, actually.
Oh, that's with us. Aren't we?
Yeah, you.
Oh, so then I guess it's not with us. When are you going?
I don't know. The
Mother's-
last time I
Mother's
went
Day?
there,
Mother's Day?
freaking world ended almost. The last day I went. Last
Yeah,
time I
talk
went there.
about that.
Why? What was that?
Well, it was for my 40th birthday, and it was the day that Bin Laden.
Oh,
was-
Yeah, well, they killed Bin Laden supposedly that day, and price of silver went from like 40 to I don't know 26 overnight, and there was no phone access, and I'd have to go up to you have to go all the way up to the main thing to get, and I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? And then my phone's blowing up, but I have to be romantic. It was
It was my 40th.
it was her 40th birthday. It was very. It was
And
very,
did you hear about
very
this?
tough.
New guidelines by the CFTC that state that dealers almost never have to submit 1099-Bs. Are we talking about that because of the changes that we've seen? Minnie. Ow. Are we talking about that now that the junk is not included?
That has to be what that is. Yeah,
It's got to be in
it's
bar
just
form.
1,000-ounce bar
Yeah.
form that could settle a Comex contract,
I
but
thought hundreds can too.
they can. I
Right.
think tens can.
Tens
also.
can also, yeah.
As
But
long
junk
as
is
they're
not.
NYMEX
Right.
approved.
Junk is not. Coins are not.
Right.
Right. It's got to be something
Rounds
that
are
can be
not.
traded. Correct. Yeah. Which is just new. That's just new. And here we go to Heath, Alabama, Bill 130. Good.
That's
Listen,
amazing. The more and more
that's
states that do that, the better. And they will start removing legal tender or capital gains tax, I would assume,
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, they have. Not a lot, but we do have both in stock.
Yeah.
GSE, I'm assuming mean gold American Eagles.
I think gold, silver,
He
gold,
means-
silver eagles.
I mean, must
I
mean
think that-
GAE.
Yeah. AGE is right. And then Amanda Reyes says Pakistan and India are about to start a nuclear war.
I hope Pakistan and India are not about to start a nuclear war, but you should watch my interview with Martin Armstrong that I did. He talks
That one,
about
by the
World
way,
War
it's
III.
got 107.
107,000
Now
views
it's
in
probably
3
over.
days.
Now it's probably more than that. Now it's probably
He's an
110,000.
interesting dude.
Bars Rust coins on several 10-ounce silver and gold bars. Should I change them into coins?
Yeah, Lee, that gold dealer is right. 10-ounce gold bars are, and don't take this the wrong way, but they're penny wise and pound foolish.
What you gain in savings, you lose in flexibility.
Yeah, the savings isn't commensurate with it at all.
That's it.
You might save $150 on one 10-ounce bar versus 10 1-ounce bars, which are $34,000, and you saved $100 to be 10 times less flexible. Whether you're playing poker with your buddies or driving crowded highway or living, you can never have too much in the way of flexibility or outs or options. Same thing is true here. I would do that, as a matter of fact. The 10-ounce silver bars are great, but
Matter of fact, we should just plug
Yeah.
the coins right
go
now.
ahead.
We didn't have time because of the technical difficulties to list the specials for
I
tonight,
thought
but
you
we
did
did.
the other day.
I did, but now we have new specials. We have the Royal Mint coins.
Oh.
And by the way, those Royal Mint coins, we are literally giving them away compared to what the other dealers are charging for them.
Oh.
The cheapest that I saw in other places were $530 over spot per ounce. And we're out there at $299 over spot for these 10-ounce Royal Mint coins. They're actual coins, some very cool ones. We have the Royal Arms. We have Little John. We have the actual Britannia 10-ounce
Not Little
coin.
Kevin?
Not Little Kevin. That comes later. And then we have the ones that I just bought. I bought the Merlin ones. That was for, but in honor of Gelfand. I bought the Merlin ones.
The Wiz.
I did. I
We
bought
have
the Wiz.
10-ounce silver coins, is what he's saying,
Yeah,
from the
10-ounce
Royal
silver
Mint,
coins from the Royal Mint.
which are hard to come by, and we bought everything that we
We
could
could get our
buy.
hands on, and we are what I consider giving them away at $299 over spot per ounce. And if you look at any of the dealers out there, you can Google it, and you look for Royal Mint 10-ounce coins, and they're all 24 and 25s. I think the only one that are 25s are the Merlins, if I'm not mistaken. Everything else is 24s, but you're going to see that they're all at 38, 380 plus per coin, where we're going to be just at around 336.
Give
So
that back to her.
Yeah.
So
360, excuse me. I think I don't know.
I probably
Well,
will.
do you want me to work?
Should I step away for a minute?
I just seriously. There's a pond out back.
Oh
No.
What, do you want that one?
Look at that.
Uh-oh.
That's not smart. Just saying.
21.
That's fine.
That's
For
John
fine.
just drained us.
we have to go soon.
Okay.
Lee looks like a tough guy.
He does.
Lee, you don't
He
want.
looks
10
like
ounce
he's
gold
got a
bars.
very,
manicured beard.
but very very manicured
Yeah.
beard.
Lee,
He could do
nice
commercials
beard.
for a. Lee, if that's really you, your picture, give us some.
My
give
wife
us a
thinks you're
comment.
handsome.
Yeah.
Lee, get rid of the 10 ounce gold bars. We'll swap them into 1 ounce bars for you. If you
Yeah,
like.
or 1 ounce coins. There are plenty of 1 ounce coins right now that are commensurate to the 1 ounce bars. You have Philharmonics, even the Maples we could do very cheap this week, especially. Nico, welcome, my neighbor in Delray. You can't come by virtually. There's no showroom here. We have an administrative office that we have in Delray, but we don't have a storefront that you can come in to buy and sell. If there's something that you want to do, we can arrange for a pickup and delivery with you locally here in Boca del Rey, but we don't have a shop for you to come in and kind of peruse the selection. I think that you're going to want this one. No?
When the Vikings win the Super Bowl, I
Okay.
think the Wolves have a chance.
They
If
do.
they get by tomorrow night, get
Although
by the Lakers.
Vince said today, no chance. He said he took the Lakers. I said you should probably take the other side of it with Vince.
I should.
You should. You
Yeah,
should call Vince and
bastard.
take
Well,
the
he's
other
from
side of it.
Wisconsin. What do you
I know.
expect?
I know. Well, he's a hater. What do you think here? What's going to happen with metals once the ships arrive to our ports empty?
Well, it's
No.
what's going to happen to the retail market.
Right.
The premiums will go parabolic because that's when demand supply issues start to take over.
And by the way, that you're going to see that. So generally speaking, our premiums never change, basically after the close or over the weekend. There was only one time that I remember where premiums changed over the weekend, and that was during the banking crisis. That was
Did
it.
during Silver Squeeze also.
The
The original one in 2021.
Yeah.
You weren't here then.
Yeah. What do we got here? Shane Miles. Hey, Miles.
They're too expensive. I think I would buy 1/10 ounce gold eagles myself. If you've ever held a gold gram, I mean, I like Valcambi. If you're going to buy it, I like them. But if you ever held a gram of gold, it doesn't even feel real because it's so thin and small.
Yeah, well, not only that, but the combi bars, which I think is probably what he's.
Well, they do make 1 gram bars too.
Yeah, but I think I know, but they're like you said, if you take that out of the package, those are.
Remember, I gave you a 5 gram bar. And
that
it's
was
like
that was the Royal Mint.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like your pinky fingernail.
No, that was 1 gram. It was 1 gram.
Was it 1 gram?
1 gram.
Yeah,
It's literally, it's nothing. You're better off buying 10th ounce gold.
Yeah.
No question. And the combi bars, you're going to pay an extraordinarily high premium, much higher than the 10th ounce gold coin. So it's cute, it's great, and it's very cool looking. But from an affordability standpoint, you're better off value-wise going with the 10th ounce coin.
Most people don't want to hear.
Right.
I've learned that my whole life, Michael, that most people think you're crazy, Michael. And just like they think we're crazy because, assuming that anything but good times and prosperity could befall upon us is we haven't seen that for 3 generations, 4 generations, and it's impossible. Every generation since our great grandparents basically have grown up under the expectation to live better than our parents. This might be the first time that this generation won't.
Yeah.
Potentially, lack of opportunities. I just saw Medtronic just came out with a new robot that does all these surgeries, like kidney surgery.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it had like a
custom for you, right?
97% success
Success
rate.
rate.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, I don't really high, but world's changing, opportunities are changing, jobs are changing. So I don't know. Crazy
Johnny
times.
Wad, yeah, that's what we've been doing quite a bit lately, as a matter of fact. So a lot of people these days are starting to take advantage of the GSR and swapping some of their gold for silver, whether it be Eagles,
Johnny Wad was in porn.
Maples.
You know that? But that's what it is. That's what the reference is. I'm
How
sorry.
do you know?
Because that's what the reference
How
is.
do you know?
Well, I'm not saying this
He's
is the
clearly-
original Johnny
He's
Wad.
clearly an aficionado.
This is 70s
Yeah.
porn lore. I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny,
How
tell me
would you
I'm
know?
wrong, Johnny. Am
How
I
would you
wrong?
You have to go to the live in order to see it.
Am I wrong? I know I'm right. I mean, someone told me. It's like 70s porn lore.
Dude,
Oh my God. Hello. This is a family channel.
I mean,
Wasn't Mark Wahlberg?
Not
that's-
wrong.
that-
Johnny Wad says not wrong.
Yes, and wasn't that Mark Wahlberg's role?
No, he was Dirk Diggler, but
That
probably
was
Johnny
him.
Wad,
I'm
yeah.
almost positive.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But said you can't remember to close a cupboard or zip your pants.
But that you-
But that you remember.
well,
Wait, you know that too?
some things are more
You know
important
that
to
too? He walks
remember.
out when he plays golf 90% of the time with his zipper down. I think it's
That-
air conditioning.
It is. It's hot in
It's
Florida.
right. It's air conditioning. Ow, Minnie.
And someone else had a 1,000-ounce bar they wanted to trade for junk silver. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, actually.
So if you want Johnny Wad, no, I'm gonna never forget that. Just
Sorry,
info at
Johnny.
milesfranklin.com and John will put you in touch with the right broker.
Alan
to
says I'm not
facilitate
supposed
that
to
one.
know such things. I
I
agree. I mean, I'm sorry, honey. I don't know how I learned that.
Don't forget Ron Jeremy. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Famous man. It's amazing when you see him now that you could imagine him.
Isn't he like the hedgehog? Or
How would you know
something?
that? And my wife knows that Ron Jeremy's the hedgehog. So,
boy.
now I don't feel so
Where
bad,
is this
Johnny Wad.
channel going? That's
Yeah.
what I want to know.
Seriously, I'm
Oh, boy.
disturbed right now.
Oh, would you move a 100-ounce bar to anything else?
But I knew that too, by the way.
Yeah, of course you would.
If it were silver, probably not.
No, not now.
You know, I mean,
Stack it, hold it.
yeah.
But if you have some of those larger, and again, it's one of the reasons that when we were talking about the flexibility, let's say that you did want to swap some of your gold for silver, but you didn't want to do all 10 ounces in your 10-ounce bar. Now you're prohibited from you're basically stifling yourself from doing so, because now the only option you have is either 10 ounces or nothing. So that's one of the reasons in terms of flexibility that you lose by buying larger than 1 ounce. So another case in point. I think we get a couple more, and then I think we got to call it. It's 9:25.
been a long day,
and
man.
I'm not sure what's going to happen. We're going to get a couple of questions, or your computer's going to die.
Someone stole my charger,
I
man.
bet it's
Well, you were
in
going to
your
say your
drawer.
daughter.
She says she bets it's in my drawer. That's like the vote of conference from the wife.
So
always.
this is what we were going back to about, I think, the 250 under spot for the local.
Yeah,
shops.
they have more supply than they do buyers. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just supply demand.
Yeah. So, and by the way, you are right. The pawn shops and these coin shops are seeing an influx of people. And it just goes to show you that when you hear that everything is rosy going on in the economy, when things are rosy going on in the economy, not everybody's rushing into their pawn shops to sell. And it's not just gold, it's silver as well. I watched a couple of interviews with some of these pawn shops and coin dealers that they are seeing tons and tons of people coming in. I don't think that we're seeing that much buybacks now. There was a period that we saw a whole lot, but
I
certainly
haven't.
for me, it's slowed down a lot for me. I've definitely been a lot more on the buy side. That we're selling metals instead of buying metals. All right, let's take a couple more, and then we got to run because I think Andy and John need to have some romantic time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, with all the talk of the 70s porn stuff, I don't know.
I should go grow a mustache real
You
quick.
should, but well, you can just borrow one from what I can't remember who it was, but Jim, your bestie still trusts the fiat scam. Well, listen, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. That's what I say. Don't even try
You
and
can lead him to water and then shoot him.
you can, but you're not going to shoot your best friend.
Oh,
But I I could,
There've been
but then
times.
we can do this. Yeah. I bought some gold in Colombia that is in the form of a 2.6 ounce unmarked ingot and was thinking of having it recast. Would I be better off making half-ounce rounds or bars, or does it matter? Just stick with 1
Who's
ounce.
going to recast it for you?
Somebody, and if they recast it, chances are they're going to.
Yeah, you'd be better selling it for its melt
Yeah.
value and then buying 2.5
Correct.
ounces of
Yeah.
like 2 1 ounce coins
Yeah.
and a half-ounce coin.
All right.
Johnny Holmes.
We're all over it
Are you
somehow.
not going through the star?
Oh yeah, I have to go through the stores. I'm
So
sorry.
I think we
got
couple more.
I think we got.
I've hit a wall.
I know. What's this one?
Do we even have any queens?
We don't have any of the queens. We're out of the queens. All we have are the King Charles. That's it. And all these 10-ounce Royal Mint coins that we just got in, they're all King Charles. They're 24s and 25s. It's not easy to come by the Queen Maples anymore.
No, it's
Tough. So, all right. I think we are. Oh, you want to answer this one,
Which one?
Aaron?
You want? I don't care.
You do it. I don't know. You do it.
No.
I have a Milgauss, a Rolex Milgauss.
Yes.
You see that? They don't make it anymore.
Yes.
Kevin made me buy it.
Yeah.
When we were
I
in
make him
St.
do
Mark.
everything. Right. Along with the tattoo.
He made me get a tattoo. He did. He did. He made me get a tattoo.
When are you going to come on the other side of this camera so that you could say he's full of shit? And by the way, my tattoo took all of maybe,
20 minutes.
not even, that was me bullshitting with him. Maybe 7 minutes. Yours took almost 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it
We're
hurt
starving.
too, man.
We didn't eat dinner.
I didn't eat
We
either.
didn't eat but you were getting tattooed. We were eating dinner at 1
We
a.m.
were standing outside in the cold.
Yeah.
reading-
Well, whose idea was it? Kevin's.
Mine was 7 minutes.
Yeah, well,
7 minutes.
I'm a much more deep thinker than you.
You just had, first of all, did your guy even speak English? He didn't
No.
speak English.
No,
Maybe
it's-
that's what the problem
it's
was.
good that he
Yeah.
didn't talk.
All right, so we're going to call it for the night. But I will say this.
What
A
will you
week
say?
from tonight, we are doing a special edition on your IRAs because we are absolutely getting bombarded with inquiries of people thinking they got scammed from some of these dubious dealers. And Andy and I want to go over the absolute A's to Z's of A, if you did, B, if you're thinking about rolling over. What?
Andy's golden mustache joking on pre-stale.
Oh yeah.
That's some funny.
If
shit.
we did that's going to be your new that's going to be your token.
Right, it's the most-
Daniel, you are one funny man.
Oh,
So
but you know what else?
What?
So we're at 39,600.
oh, so we need 400 more
Oh,
by that
God.
time.
It-
So listen,
it was
if we
so
do something again,
brutal.
we'll promise that John will not send you out your hats and shirts
Oh.
and everything else
By
that you win.
2026.
Right.
Okay,
But
it's like I just have like a thing going to the post office. It's not my thing.
you know they pick up, right?
What?
They pick up.
Well, you have to get like the postage, and it's just like I couldn't find a box big enough for the hats.
You can
It's just, like,
send
not
your
my
daughter to
thing.
do it. Drop it off.
Oh, my intern.
Yeah. So again, we are going to be doing a
I don't like that can't
What did I
do
say we're doing?
attitude.
we're doing a special edition a week from tonight.
Yeah.
So tune in. Very important. If you know anyone that either is contemplating having a precious metals IRA, if you know someone that is already in a precious metals IRA and having difficulty, and if you are in a precious metals IRA and your account value has stayed stagnant or has even gone down over the last few years while metals have been flying high, you don't want to miss this segment.
No.
So wait, what? No.
you don't want
No. You don't want to miss it. So, what I will say is, there you go, influencer.
tattoo for the win.
Yeah.
That is
Smash
the best
that.
name of all
Smash
time,
that.
by the way.
Where's the plane tattoo?
I mean,
That's
that
it.
is the best
The
damn
plane, the
name.
plane.
Well, and the funny thing is, people think it's
I
because
know.
of your
I know.
ink.
Well,
It's
not
not.
Pistol Pete. Look at Pistol Pete.
It's not.
Right.
Pistol
So
Pete's-
tune in next week. Like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And
maybe we'll do one giveaway.
so maybe next week, Jana just said we will do a giveaway for our 40,000 subscriber. Oh,
There's
boy.
Kevin when he was younger.
Well, I thought you were going to put the picture that you love, like your favorite.
Oh, the favorite.
Here he comes. By the way, you should actually
God, I love
you should
that shit.
email it
I
to
should get
yourself,
attached
and then
to
you can
that.
put it on here. That could be our
I
background.
mean, that's the best.
That could be our
I
background.
gotta find the. Hang on. Give me
How do you not have it like at your disposal?
Because
Don't
my
you have it as a-
daughter
I thought you
hijacks
have it
my
as a, I thought you
phone.
had it as a sticker.
well, I probably do, but the picture is just even better.
The sticker is good though.
The sticker.
I might have the sticker. I might have made it a sticker.
It just makes me laugh every time. I
I'm
look
sure
at
it does. I am sure it does.
Hervé. What the heck is it?
I don't know, but
Look in our group chat.
yeah, it's
World
probably
chat.
there. In any case, it is a Mr. Rourke right here and tattoo, except he superimposed my face and his face.
Oh, that one I don't.
onto each
Have, I gotta. That one I gotta find.
Yeah, that's
Go
what I thought you were
into,
talking.
like-
Wait, which one did you
Yeah,
think
give
of?
it to
Don't
me.
tell me the
Here,
ball
I'll
one.
find it.
Give it to him.
I got it.
Kevin should have a vest of fine
Corinthian leather. That's
I-
what. That's what Mr. Rourke. He was selling a car, fine Corinthian leather.
Well, the other day when we played golf, I could have had a gator vest because this was right where we were. And that one was about 6 feet long.
Oh gosh.
And he was at that point, he was probably
Oh,
about
here it is.
12 feet away from me. There you go. So there.
Oh, that's just so great.
I love that too. I do love it. It's great. I have a very large forehead in that picture. I mean, extremely. I mean, maybe I do have a big
Oh
forehead.
my God,
I mean,
is that funny?
I don't know if tattoo ever left. Oh my God, do I love doing this? By the way, I love that I can laugh at myself.
Oh God, that
All right.
made my night.
Oh,
I gotta
good.
go.
See. All right, everyone.
I'm off to Fantasy Island.
All right, a week from tonight, please don't want to miss this special edition. We will see you next week.
Manana.
Have a good one. Ciao.
That's gonna be the